Hi, this is Dan here. Hope you're doing really well. Now, there is a process to learning absolutely any technique you care to mention. If you're a beginner and you really just want to get together your just finger style, every principle I mention in this lesson refers to that as well, the simplest thing you can think of. But I've just been working on this line here, which you can download. I'll put a link below. I want to sort of take you through the process. Just very briefly, what I'm doing here is I'm using free strokes. A free stroke is where you pluck and you come away from the body of the bass, rather than a rest stroke, which is where you pluck and rest on another string. And that's very good for chords. This is what I'm doing here. It's an E flat, it's an E minor 7 chord. So what I'm experimenting with here, and I've been doing this for a while, is playing free strokes with chords, kind of funky kind of thing, and then transitioning to like a pick, but with your fingers, a little bit like Bernard Edwards chucking. And when you do this kind of freestyle thing, your first or your index finger and your thumb kind of come together anyway. So that's why I was experimenting with this. This is the first part of the process, is exploration. No metronome, no judgment. Just if you sound completely terrible with this, don't worry. You're just exploring something to kind of see what your hands are supposed to be doing and see what's possible. This came out of a practice session where I was just doing it, and it seemed like a kind of natural thing to do. So that's the first step of any technique, is just to explore it with no judgment, without trying to go any further than see what it involves. A key concept of learning any technique is mechanics. This is just simply what your fingers should be doing. So at the beginning here, what I'm doing, this is a bar. This is called a bar. It's where you use one finger to fret multiple notes, and it is usually used by guitarists, but here, that works well. You can go first, second, and third. But when I'm in my exploration phase, it's a little bit too much movement for me to go from doing each finger individually, transitioning into that sort of picking thing. So I thought bar, let's bar there. Now barring is quite difficult because you've got to press down with your index, and also the sort of bottom of your finger's got to press down here. So you've just got to strengthen the mechanics. You do this very, very slowly. Mechanics is all about where should my finger go? What should it be doing? Also, muting. There's a lot of room here for error. You can be striking strings. Let me just quickly show you this so that you can sort of do it yourself. Like I said, this is very difficult. So if it's just literally that you want to be going, but this is what I'm doing. I've got the 12th fret of the E, the D, and the G, barred. The second note really, really short. So come up really quickly off this. Now, on the kind of upstroke here, I'm then grabbing my thumb and index together to make a sort of picking shape. And then coming straight back down onto the D string with some ghost notes. Then I've got a hammer on from fret 12 to 14, A to B on the A string. Then we've got more ghost notes. And ghost notes, they're all about timing, okay? And this is a machine, this just keeps going. That's the mechanics here. I've got to get this down-up alternating pattern going, okay? Notice there's no timing going on as in metronomes or backing tracks. Just, none of that yet. I'm exploring the mechanics, just trying to get everything down. Then you can just, any part of what you're playing that seems difficult, you isolate that part and you repeat that as part of the process. So there at the end, the picking bit, I've got 2 picks down and up on the 14th fret of the D string. The transition from there back to the free strokes and the bar For me, that's the most difficult bit. So I don't go back to the beginning and play the bit I know. That's a common mistake when people are practicing, is they play stuff that they already know. You're never going to get better doing that. Always work on the difficult stuff. I know that seems frustrating and difficult, but that's the way to do it. So here I go. And I would slow it down. And it's boring, it's repetitive, but this is the way to do it. You're building these neural connections in your mind. You're building the muscle memory. That's a very important concept, okay? The only way to do that is to repeat, but you must repeat correct movements, okay? I want you to have one phrase in mind whenever you're learning technique, and that's that nothing is difficult, just unfamiliar. I use that phrase a lot, actually. And it's true, because sometimes you can come up against techniques that you think you'll never be able to do, but it's just because it's unfamiliar to you. Think about things that you can do now that you couldn't before. It's really just familiarizing yourself with it and just getting better that way. So we've explored where we're going to put our fingers. We've got the mechanics down. We've isolated the tricky sections. We've gone round and round. Now when we're starting to feel more comfortable, this is the time, this is the place to insert a little bit of sort of timing. So I've got a backing track. This is actually very much based on a lesson I just did, which I'll put a link to, around 2 chords. I haven't moved on to the second chord, actually. The second chord goes twice, then again here. The second chord, E flat major 7, can't bar that, so I've got first, second and third fingers. There, the movement from playing the chords to the A on the 12th fret, that's where I would isolate. And I have to slow it down. A common mistake, again, is to play too quickly. And it sounds a bit boring having to go. And you don't imagine that people like Victor Wooten ever did that, but I bet he did. I bet you he went really slowly around things. I know Stu Ham is a big advocate of slowing down. He can play all kinds of crazy things. Now is the time to get some sort of backing track or metronome. I'll do a backing track first. It's 95 beats per minute. You can download this, link below. "95 beats per minute is quite manageable. It's quite slow for this. So that's what I would do. I would just get a comfortable tempo that you can deal with. If it's a bit too quick, then just notch it back 5 BPM or however many you need to. And then you can just ramp it up, because that's the next thing, is to get it up to speed, but it has to be in time. So you've got to go whatever your lowest benchmark is and then build up from there. So I want to get this to 120 beats per minute. Let's try that with a metronome. There are all manner of metronome exercises you can do. Like that was on click on every beat. You can put it on 2 and 4. You can just put it on 1 beat to really remove all of the information. But there, I just had it on every beat at 120 beats per minute. And I've been practicing this to get it up to that speed, but it didn't start off that way. It started off very slow. But the process was there. You explore, you work on the mechanics, you isolate, you go round and round the hard bits very, very slowly. It's all about coordination, building up the correct movements, and this is a process. A really good idea is to record yourself and to log your ideas. You know, get some paper, the shapes that you've found, any useful things, any kind of notes that you can put down about what went well, what needs a bit of practice. If you do this, you have this kind of self-reflection and you aim to be like a tiny bit better than you were the last week. You won't even notice it, but you will get much, much better doing that. Be very mindful of muting. You don't want any unwanted noises. You want the tone to be excellent. So if you're hearing any buzzers or anything that doesn't sound quite right, don't plow through that. Stop and work out, take responsibility, work out what's going wrong. It might just be that you're fretting not close enough to the fret, for example, or you're not pressing down too hard. You're not pressing down hard enough. Having said that, do aim for a nice light touch, because you want to avoid any type of pain, if you do feel anything, you must stop your practice session for that day. Consistency is key. If you can do 5 minutes even every day, just absolute deliberate practice, working on the things I'm talking to you about, anything that's difficult, zone in on that. If you just do 5 minutes every day, you will get much better. Consistency is key, getting a tiny bit better every day, every week. That's what it's all about. Download what I showed you today. If it's too difficult, then remove notes. If there's anything you're playing that's too difficult, just sort of refine the process just by removing a few things. You need small wins when you play the bass. You need to prove to yourself that you can do something. And that comes down to just slowing down, doing what's achievable. I'm showing you what I'm practicing today. That might be a bit beyond where you are now. Might not be. But if it is, just start off where you are. It might just be you've just started and you just want to get your coordination of fingerstyle. Do that. Put a comment below. Tell me what you're working on at the moment, technique-wise, because I might be able to help you in future videos. I might be able to answer a comment and help you out. But thanks very much for watching. Please do subscribe to my channel. I do loads of videos like this and, how to solo and loads of other things. Just check my channel out. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.